in comparison to what she said yesterday, I think things are different right now in the workplace. The use of sort of the subcontracting, I think Noah Seixas talked a little bit about this in his opening talk. We're seeing relationships that we've never seen before in workplaces. First, the use of temporary workers in many, many different industries, which didn't really exist 20, 30 years ago. There are now about 3 million temporary workers at any one time in workplaces in the United States. And it used to be only certain industries and white collar, but now it's really everywhere. You go into, there's a coal mine we recently heard about where everybody in the coal mine works for a staffing agency, including the managers. And this is, you go into a workplace, you see multiple employees of many different employers. But the temporary workers are really interesting to us because we've seen breathtaking and heartbreaking number of what we call first day fatalities. Workers who are sent to work by a staffing agency to a place where they have no idea what the hazards are, and they're killed. Because they don't know. Now, this shouldn't be a surprise. There are studies done by the Bureau of Labor Statistics 100 years ago in the steel industry, and they're really remarkable studies, and I can share them with you if you want, that show the rate of injuries the first day of workers on different machines in the steel industry. New workers are at greater risk of injury. They need to be trained. They need to be sort of acculturated to the workplace, to the hazards, to the safety environment. But when a temporary worker is sent to a workplace, they're rarely given adequate training. The host employer thinks, well, this person's not really part of my team. They're going to be here for a week, too. The reality is they could be there for a year. But they're not given the training or the introduction that you would need to be safe. I illustrate this in talks when I bring sort of my slide deck and my videos, which I decided to spare you today. And the thing that really got me going around this was a young man named Dave Davis, who was a 21-year-old in Jacksonville, Florida, who had just graduated from the Labor Department's Job Corps program. He actually never held a job in his life. And he went to a staffing agency. The staffing agency said, we have a job for you. We're going to send you to Bacardi Bottling Corporation, where they bottle rum, to clean up. You'll sweep up there. He was thrilled. He and his mother went to Walmart that morning and he had to arrive with steel-tip boots and a safety vest. And he went and bought them. He said, I have a selfie he sent to himself from the bathroom when he arrived. He was so proud. He sent to his fiancée. And he got there, and they gave him a broom, and they said, go clean up under the palletizer. Now, there's a video which we took from the Bacardi security system, which is on the ProPublica website, because they put this out in a really powerful way, where you could see the conveyor belt, and bottles of rum would break, and rum is sticky, so boxes would stick on the conveyor belt, so sometimes whole boxes would fall over. So the palletizer, which would sort of combine all the bottles and pack them up into cartons, had a lot of broken glass. And so they said to him, go clean up that broken glass. And there's a big sign saying, danger, do not enter. Dave Davis had never heard of lockout, tagout. And we have a video where, he goes, he talks to the supervisor, he goes, into the palletizer, and then we see the supervisor turning on the machine. And his first day on the job was his last day on earth. And that's only one of the reports that we've gotten like this. So we see this issue of temporary workers as being a key one, but not just temporary workers. This separation, this use of many employers in the same workplace, and the bifurcation of risk. It used to be that if you ran a factory, you would be responsible for those injuries that occurred. It may be that you only paid for them through workers' comp, but at least you paid for them. Now, the workers' comp payments are done by the staffing agency. The host employer just pays a very different sort of fee to the staffing agency, and the workers in the staffing agency have to go to the staff agency's workers' comp carrier. Many temporary workers are afraid to apply for workers' compensation because where are they going to get their next job? So the whole system is just sort of spinning down faster. The other thing that we see is misclassification. We call it, from the Labor Department's view of misclassification, the classification of wage workers as independent contractors. Now, if you're an independent contractor, then no one has responsibility for your safety other than yours. There's no workers' compensation, no taxes paid, you get the 1099. And that's it. We go onto a construction site, a roofing job, and the guy in charge will say, those 7 workers, they're all independent contractors. They don't really work for me. Of course, that's nonsense. In Europe, they call this, they have a phrase for it. You can read the European Parliament's work on this. Bogus misclassification. I mean, really, we should just call it fraud. I mean, that's what that is. But we're talking here about hundreds of thousands of workers. McClatchy did a series on, there's a chain of newspapers looking at Texas, North Carolina, and Florida, found in each state, literally hundreds of thousands of workers have been misclassified as independent contractors. So all of those issues, I think, have a big impact on worker safety and making it worse and harder for us to deal with rather than easier.